Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm my luscious female fan, Steve Alicious, here with the Galaxy S10e, Samsung's more budget-friendly option from last year. But it just so happens that in 2020, this is around the same price as the Google Pixel 4a. We'll discover which one's best for you today on this edition of Steve Alicious Tech. Also, come on! And we're back. As always, thank you so much to all the new subscribers, up over 500 on our road to 1,000. If you're loving all the phones, all the tech, go ahead and give that subscribe button a tussle. It certainly means a lot to me. So the S10e, a rather forgotten phone for a couple different reasons. Number one, it was the smallest offering from last year, and it's always kind of comical that everybody's praising all these smaller phones this year, the 4a, the fact that the iPhone's going to have a rather small variant, and last year it was like, oh, well, it's too small. So it goes back and forth, but that's okay. This one is a decent offering, and it gives you a lot of value, especially in comparison to the 4a, which I think this is the direct competitor. And I understand when other people are talking about how the 4a is really one of your only options in this price point, especially in North America. A lot of people are not comfortable importing phones from overseas. I understand there's a lot of new and exciting things with better builds, and I think better value happening in Europe, India, Asia, all that stuff that are not really in the North American market, at least comfortably, where you could just go into a store and get one. So I get what people say as far as new phones are concerned through carriers. That's really going to be one of your best options, but you could still get this one through AT&T, as well as Amazon Renewed with the 90-day warranty. I'll leave that link in the description, and I think you get quite a bit more. So let's talk about what's the same on both devices. Both 5.8 AMOLED displays, both 1080p, both 60 Hz. And especially with Samsung, you understand few people, if any, do it better when it comes to those AMOLED panels, and this one certainly is no exception. You're getting a headphone jack, USB-C charging, roughly the same battery size at around 3,100 milliamp hours, and this version that I have here is the 6 gig RAM version for the S10e. Matches up well with the Pixel 4a with the 6 gigs of RAM and the 128 gigabytes of internal storage. But now let's talk about what makes them different. And there's quite a bit. Number one, that note I said 128 gigs of storage, but it doesn't stop there. You get expandable storage with the S10e. The biggest thing that I think is the Snapdragon 855. You're getting last year's top-of-the-line processor, whereas in the 4a, you're getting the 730G. Which, to put that in perspective, the 765G that came out this year is only still on par with the Snapdragon 845. And now you're talking about not even this year's mid-tier processor in the 4a, but last year's mid-tier processor in the 4a, while the S10e rocking the 855. So that's future-proofing. And I understand that a lot of times Samsung, with their updates, kind of gobs up the works a little bit and makes things a little bit slower. But when you're talking about just your games, your apps, they're going to run better longer on the 855 than they are on the 730G. I understand the 4a doesn't lag now. But what about 6 months, a year, 2 years from now if you're keeping this device? You want top-tier performance. And an 855 snappy chip, I believe it's going to give you that. Camera. And we're going to put some samples up here of the camera on the S10e. Really nice shots. You can see nice color. There's pop. There's good dynamic range. Here you're going to see the wide angle. Geez, that's so useful. Just gives you a little bit more flexibility. You want to get all your friends in. You want to get a wider landscape, a cityscape in, something like that. Give us the wide angle lens. Let us decide there. Good quality on that. You're going to see the portrait mode perfectly fine. Good there as well. You might say, oh, geez, well, I don't know. The skin on the chicken is a little blown out. We need to have a discussion here on what we actually use these photos for. If you're doing the cover of a magazine, I understand, okay, get the Pixel. But what are you doing with a picture like this? We're going on Instagram, right? We're going on Facebook. LOL, fun with the fam. Hashtag foul play. FOWL. Take a second, you'll get it. But that's what you're doing. I see this photo, I'm clicking like. And then there's the night mode, which again, you take these comparison photos of people with the night mode, and they're looking at pitch black rooms. And how well does it illuminate a completely dark room? What are you doing? Turn a light on, creeper. For me, a night mode is how well does it take a low light shot, a dusk shot, a room that's kind of dimly lit like this one. And you can see it does well with Rocky the Raccoon here. So a good night mode. Let's talk about some of the other differences. Well, it's got last thing on the camera. It's got the dual aperture thing that was kind of a little gimmick, but it's still cool that they have the dual aperture on the thing. The colors. You get a little bit there. I understand this is a minor thing, but you get a little bit of pizzazz with the S10e. You got a couple different things that you can get excited about, including you have canary yellow, you got the blue, you got the white, you got the black one, you got a nice green one, and this one here. And I'll give Samsung some credit here. A lot of companies try to hide this kind of color as like, oh, it's coral, it's salmon. No. They say not only is it pink, it's flamingo pink. Are you man enough? And of course, I was more than up to the challenge. So flamingo pink it is. Gorilla Glass 5. This is one. Listen to me. Listen to me on this one. Very important. This goes to the construction of both phones. Gorilla Glass 5. I understand not the latest and greatest, but Gorilla Glass 5, front and back. Aluminum, nice build, nice trim. Whereas on the 4A, Gorilla Glass 3. And that is a huge, I understand what's the big deal. It's a big deal. I'm using that Nokia now that I'm going to do the full review of later in the week that has only Gorilla Glass 3. Let me tell you something. You breathe on that, it scratches. And if you're somebody that gets super annoyed by those micro scratches, then you're going to want, at the very least, a screen protector, or can get this model here that has the Gorilla Glass 5. You get wireless charging. You get reverse wireless charging on the Samsung device. I mean, you're getting a lot more for your money. Snappy performance. It is on the list of device that's going up, getting updated to One UI 3.0. So you're getting Android 11 on this device. You're just getting a better looking device. And I can't stress enough that difference in the 855 processor. I'm not usually one that sits here, and if you watch the videos, you understand I'm not someone who sits here and harps on specs. But if you're spending $350, as something goes nuts here, if you're spending $350, $400, and you want this phone lasting you 2-3 years, you're going to see a significant drop-off in value, and it always happens with the Pixel. I understand people come in and they defend the Pixel devices, but it always happens. It's not like we have no track record of this. They always come in a little underpowered, and in 6 months to a year, when new features are added, oh, well, they don't work as well anymore. Oh, well, so, you're not getting what you think you were getting before. And, I understand it, but at the same time, use the money, the same amount, and get something that you know is going to last and perform a little bit better, a little bit longer. So whatever those games are now that you're playing, however long from now, you're going to be getting the top frames and the better Adreno GPU than you are on the Pixel 4a. So I understand you got to be comfortable. Listen, if you're comfortable not even getting one Amazon renewed, if you're comfortable going on eBay and getting one that might be in a little rougher shape, a couple scratches on it, you're going to be looking in the $320 price range. I mean, you're really going to get a good deal on this, and I think you're getting a top-tier performance for that money, especially if you're looking at a Google Pixel 4a instead. So if you're not comfortable going overseas, importing some of these devices, which I get it, it's not for everybody. You got to deal with a bunch of different Amazon sellers or eBay sellers, and if you're worried about different bands for your carrier, whether they're going to work or not, I get it, completely get it. But don't think, as a lot of people are telling you, well, then your only option is the Google Pixel 4a in that price range if you're in America and that's what you're looking for. It's not. You have other options, even if they're used, or you could get this new through AT&T, a couple bucks more, and you have no problem with that, and I think you're getting better performance out of this. Don't buy a device just because it's a camera. We have to have a discussion on how many pro photographers there really are. And if you really are a pro photographer and that's your job, you're not getting a Google Pixel to take those pictures. So think about, have an honest discussion with yourself about how many photos that you actually take, and if there's enough of a quality gap between the ones this takes and that one, and whether it's worth the sacrifice in long-term performance. To me, I don't think you're going to come up with an answer that it is worth it. Could just be me, though. You never know. And we like to thank Luke Skywalker for helping out today. As always, we always have a helper, and we're always very appreciative of them. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-alicious day.